Welcome back to Everlasting Summer. Where I last left it off, some of you guys recall there was a serious conversation back there, a little bit with Lena, I guess, and also the about different things that's kind of going on with them. So all the choices that I made up to this point so far, I've all been on the positive. So hopefully everything goes well. But you never know, right? Like I said, I've been following the guide all this time. Hopefully, I made some accurate decisions. But either way, we're gonna see where this goes. Okay. I sighed and returned to Slavia. The warmth of her body kept me from the cold of the night. I hope I was keeping Slavia warm as well. Day 7. Yeah, we are definitely on her route now because previously, as I mentioned, they mentioned about how you need enough points to be on it, things like that. So it's kind of interesting. I woke up with the first rays of the sun because of the cold. Obviously, the sleeping bag was warm and it hadn't had enough time to be covered with hoarfrost, but still, it was a novelty for me to spend the night in a forest. Carefully, in order to avoid waking Slavia up, I got out of the bag. The fresh morning air finally dispelled my drowsiness, and the serenity of last night swept over me. I guess it was the happiest moment of my life. Intimacy, tenderness, love, passion, all those emotions interlinked in me during those short hours. Yeah, they definitely got it on. I looked at Slavia, she was beautiful. Her face was set in a motionless expression of absolute tranquility and peacefulness. I, I, I guess that's how angels sleep. As I had no wish to wake her up, I just sat down by her side and observed the way the morning began. Nature. The fresh dew, light wind, dancing tree leaves, and patches of sunlight on the water used to be alien to me yesterday. The concrete jungles of a huge city were the only forest I'd known before. And as someone that told me that I could just sit and enjoy things like that, despite the night cool and annoying mosquitoes without computer or internet, I definitely wouldn't have believed them. Good morning. I looked at Slavia. Morning. Did you sleep well? Better than ever. Me too. She reached out and kissed me. The kiss seemed everlasting and I just dissolved in her. Having breakfast would be great. Slavia finally spoke, letting go of me. So in some sense, they both basically, obviously those of you who watched the last part and then this part now, obviously except TNT, you kind of already know this game, but the rest of my subs do not know it. So yeah, if you could try to keep spoilers to a minimum if you can. So at least for others that kind of watch it, but they pretty much got it on here the last time they got into it. But uh, when they kind of laid in the infirmary, Oga pretty much got on him, got on him anyway. And I don't know if you heard what I said in there. And I said, why is it always the guy that gets shit, right? For something like that? Because usually two play a role in something. Well, eventually, one thing kind of led to them coming out in this forest, and they ended up getting it on. Now, usually, I kind of frown at the idea that they kind of off-screen this. The nice thing about it is, at least I don't have to do any editing. Sucky thing is, pretty much, that means all the routes are going to be like that for me, so I don't know really what happens in them, and at least I won't have to do any cringing when it comes to Uyana's route, because, yeah, the idea that they mentioned her like 15 or 14 years old, she would have had some age scenes, and I would have had to fast forward through them on my own to not get hit with YouTube. I don't know, man. That would have been a little cringy for me, but you know, but which is kind of odd because in the version that I'm playing, it says all the characters are registered 18, but there was a dialogue in the first day where Semyon mentions something about Ilyana's age being younger than what was being registered. I don't know. That was kind of interesting. So, but still, I'm gonna be doing her route either way at some point. So yeah, it's gonna be interesting when I go through her route, see what that's all about. So, okay. Slavia finally spoke, letting go of me. Yeah, I guess so. The only thing I would say is it's a little bit odd. Like, it took them all this while for Semyon to finally kind of come around that this girl's been kind of trying to get his attention the entire time. But I can also understand why he was kind of preoccupied with what he was doing too, because he was trying to figure out why he was in this camp. And only up until now, recently, is he actually starting to think of it. But he was doing that periodically anyway. Once I got onto the route from the entire beginning, once I started making points go her direction, he was already in some ways thinking of it without even realizing he was doing so. That's kind of interesting. Do you know what time it is now? No, but I think it's too early. I hope the canteen is already open. I'm so hungry. Me too. We got our things and walked to the camp, holding hands. So are they gonna do this without everybody? I'm sure Olga's gonna have a big problem with this. How's this gonna go? Or what about everybody else? The canteen was indeed open, and strangely, we were its first visitors. It wasn't a surprise that breakfast wasn't all that luxurious. Oatmeal, 2 eggs, dry bread, and watery tea. And by the way, TNT, if you happen to be watching this and you want to know why I did Slavia first, well, you know how the opening cinematic you see where everybody's getting on the bus? Slavia is the first girl you see, and she's also the first person that appears before you, and before you even get to the camp. It's like the first choice in the game, besides the opening part, is her. And what I said was at the time in the first part of the video was it's a little odd how, with the way that they do the choices, how they set it up. It's like, here, reply or do not reply. It's like, okay, that you're giving me a simple one. Obviously, you kind of have to, but what I said in there, the first part that I made was, it's like, how you give me a choice like that? It's like, okay, it's like, I get it, but it's like a little bit weird. It's like, who wouldn't? I mean, it's not like you couldn't see the person standing there, right? Although you can do that, though, if you want to. It's like, I don't know, it was a little bit odd how they did it. Uh, if I recall in the first day, uh, Slavia is the first one you meet. Then you kind of run into I think it's Lena and Ilyana. But in terms of choice wise, it went Slavia, Alyssa, then Ilyana, and I believe they saved Lena for last. So I think the way I'm going to do the routes going forward is exactly the way that the game kind of presented them to me. So probably after I do Slavia, I'm probably going to do Alyssa. Then I may do a coin flip between and save Lena for next to last, maybe, and then do Miku, and then obviously the main plot of the game, which is Eula. Okay, so obviously, but she's not the only one because I'm hoping I can do Xenia, which is like a bonus character. So I'm curious to see what she's about once I complete the entire game. So see what that is all about because I get curious about her as well. Was it a surprise that breakfast wasn't all that luxurious? Okay, wait. I never liked the local food. Me neither, to tell you the truth. Slavia laughed, but there is no choice. And it is quite good on an empty stomach. That's right. Unlike me, she was eating carefully. And I was dropping porridge on my shirt and spilling tea over myself as usual. Do you always eat like this? Anything wrong with that? I asked with a full mouth. She just laughed. Oh, no, not always, but it happens when I'm really hungry. Of course, I could be more civilized. Well, I can try at least. No worries, it's nothing. Soon we finished breakfast and went to the exit. Oh boy. No sooner had I noticed that we were still the only people in the canteen that Olga appeared on the threshold. My goodness. Oh, it's you. Well, I won't ask where you spent the night. So, is it? The camp leader was obviously embarrassed. Good morning to you too, Olga. Slavia said with a bright smile. Yes, morning, morning. Okay, just don't forget to pack your things. We won't. What does she mean? Some hike again? I asked Slavya when we left the canteen. No, today is the last day. Have you forgotten? Last day of what? Last day of the term. To say that her words struck me dumb was an understatement. Ah, why? Why so surprised? Didn't you know? It was announced during the lineup. But even at those lineups, which I attended, I was just sleeping on my feet. No. Now you know. Slavia smiled naturally. And what should I do? Her words stirred massive emotions inside of me. On one hand, I'll get out of this cursed camp at last. I might get some answers. On the other, I have just found something very important to me and I'll have to let it go. What do you mean? Oh, nothing. When is the departure? In the evening. At 5 or 6 o'clock. Wow, still a lot of time. Yes, but I have some things to do. And I should thank Zenia. She might be right, since I wasn't absent for the whole night. Oh, well, worrying is so much like her. See you at night. Claudia gave me a kiss on the cheek and ran away. I kept standing at canteen junctions. I had absolutely nothing to do, nothing to pack, so the only thing to do was to wander around the camp till evening and think. I would give it anything to be able to empty my head for those 10 hours. The boys pulled me out of my trance. Hello. Electronics stood before me, as merry as usual. You too? I replied, absent-minded. You know, the whole camp is talking about you. I guess I know well. So you did it already. That kind of wink, I don't know. He asked, giggling. Do you really think that concerns you? Well, no, I just... Then keep quiet. You really are kind of a little bit... Like, now that he's kind of got a girl on his mind, he's a little bit... Something changed into him, man. It's like, what happened to you? It's like... A part of me kind of thinks it's like, okay, maybe, you got a girl and all that, but it's like, do people do that in real life? Do they start acting a little bit weird? Yeah, some people out there do, guys. Like, I don't know. It's like I've known people when they got girlfriends, all this after they've been around it for a little bit, their personality kind of shifts somewhat. I don't, but not everybody does that. Like, I've had some girlfriends here or there, and that's never really happened to me. Doesn't matter the relationship I've been in. It's like, some people, it's kind of like they can't help themselves. Like they just, I don't know, they come across as a little dickish. Like back there, with Lena, she made a face. It's like you don't see that often. It's like I don't know. Leaving him alone with his speculations, I walked to the square. Why does he behave in a way that drives everyone mad? Although it's probably just me he maddens. I was completely immersed in my thoughts, not looking around, and didn't notice Miku until she bumped into me. Wow, we have been running into you quite often. What is with that? Is it because we ignored you at all the choice routes, right? Is that what that was? Well, I didn't actually say no in the first part, where it tells you, if you're new TNT. Yeah, I think when I first played it, I think I actually followed the voice, but I don't even remember what I picked now. It's like, uh, there's the part where it says, follow the voice or not to follow the voice, and I don't remember if I picked it or if I did pick it. So, yeah. Because after I learned that not following the voice has to do with her route, it was like, okay, I figured, well, it ain't really going to matter which way you go with it. So, and the walkthrough pretty much specifies that it only has to do with her anyway and Eula. So I figured it wouldn't really have anything to do with the other girls. But, and she wasn't all locked anyway, so I could really do her route even if I wanted to. But all of a sudden now, it's like randomly, she's been showing up like more than usual, and you usually don't see that. So I'm curious where this is gonna go. Oh, come on, phone. Jeez. Oh, sorry. I should be more careful. I was lost in thought and didn't notice you. You know how it happens. Oh, and hi. I looked through her and kept walking. Did you? Oh, Semyon, wait a second. What's up with Slavya? Tell me. It's so interesting. It seems that everyone in the whole camp except me knows about it. No, that I'm curious, but since everything is also serious. Saying that she is not curious is like denying a universal truth. Nothing special. I answered without turning back. Well, if you don't want to. I try to isolate myself from the outside irritation, so Miku's other words passed by. So, what was that? It was just random that they just happened to throw her in the scene, and this was twice that they did this. Now, nobody else, other than her, was curious why what's going on with them two. Like, I mean, Ilyana kind of, Lena pretty much, kept it to herself. You could kind of tell she would. Ilyana, it's like she would give you away, but she wouldn't really mean to do it. But Miku was the one who was most curious of what's going on here. Like, that was interesting. Luckily, the juvenile gem of the Soviet pop scene wasn't around. I took a place on the sand and started gazing at the river. Why on earth is the whole camp so interested in my relationship with Slavia? The only one that seemed to be interested is Miku. Although, Olga, yeah, I mean, that's just the way it goes, man. I don't know why people are like that. It's like people get curious. Yeah, people are kind of going out. It's like, what's the big deal, I, I don't know. I just say, just kind of go with it. Let it be kind of thing. In my world, nobody would have said a word. That's not true. I know plenty of people that talk about relationships with another person, even if it's like in your world, that's not really that much of a difference. I mean, yeah, maybe here it's like okay, maybe people talk more about it than they should, but you obviously haven't seen enough of the real world. Then there, Semyon. I don't know, at least not out loud. Okay, well there you mentioned it. At least you don't hear the things they say behind your back. Well, no, that's a good point. But I have heard things out there. But now I was ready to endure gossip, just as long as I don't have to report to everyone about my private life. The sun was rising higher and higher, and I was nodding off. I mean, I can relate to Simeon on that a little bit too. I'm not really the type that really likes to share, my private life that much. I mean, but at the same time, though, it's not really that big a deal to me, though. I'm not really going to get all upset if people ask me. It's like, hey, have you ever had a girlfriend in your life? Yeah, I have. It's not really something I really think about, though, that much. I don't know. My eyes were already closed when I suddenly heard someone sitting down next to me. Oh, my. It was Alyssa. Okay. Congratulations. Meaning? Don't you know? Yeah, it doesn't take an Einstein to work it out. To be honest, I'm sick and tired of this. My goodness, everyone here just has to mention it. Enough. And what did you expect? Is it out of, It is out of the ordinary for the camp. I would say it's exceptional. She laughed. And to show up the camp leader just like that, even Oyana could manage it. Me neither, probably. I didn't know how to respond to that, or whether it was a compliment or a mockery. You're making too big a deal out of it. There was nothing unusual for me. Moreover, I don't understand why you have to poke your nose into my life. Boy, oh boy, yeah, he really has. Like this guy, it's like it's like I don't know. It's like he's got a secret treasure. He wants to hold on to it. Like everybody wants to poke their nose. Like first it was Lena he got on. Now it's like everybody. It's like, oh, it's like I got a girlfriend. Don't bother me. No, I don't know. It's kind of the vibe that I'm getting. I don't know out of it. But maybe I'm just overanalyzing what he's doing here. I don't know. Don't you think it's just my personal business and nobody else's? I mean, maybe so. Maybe so. Alyssa said mysteriously. We sat silently for a while. I don't know if I could take you serious with a bikini on. I'm just saying, I don't know. I wanted her to leave as soon as possible, but Alyssa was watching the pioneers on the beach, and it didn't seem that she was planning to go anywhere. So, what are you going to do next? What are you talking about? Today's the last day. Yeah, so what? Everyone will leave. So, And Slavya would leave too. And you will leave too, so you'll break up. I know that already, thank you. What? You better not! Obviously. And what do you think about that? What should I think? I can't stay here forever. Of course you can't. But what? Will you let it go just like that? No. I mean, what can I do? Frankly speaking, I really had no idea what to do next. My head was a complete mess. I'll be able to get out of here. That was the most important thing for me during last week. And now I have to answer a much more difficult question. How did summer romances end for common Soviet teenagers? And my romance was a summer one for sure. They just went home and that was it. They could live thousands of kilometers away from each other. In my case, in different worlds. It's not like one can come up with a decent solution for such a problem in a couple of hours. Like I know, it's up to you to decide. Alyssa grinned, stood up and ran to the river. There was only about half an hour till lunch, so I slowly walked to the canteen. Pioneers had managed to occupy all the free tables, so I was able to choose quite a good place, but to my regret, not my favorite one in the corner. I was just about to start eating when someone abruptly pulled out a chair at the table near me and took a seat. Hi there, how are you? It was Oyana, an extraordinarily polite version of her. I was fine until now. I sneered. My goodness. Oh, come on. Better tell me. What are you gonna do? Eat. I sighed. I'm not talking about that. Yeah, go figure. The session's over. You and Slavya are gonna part. What's next? You're kind of following about that. What's with that face? I don't know. With her, it's like, I don't know. Her route's gonna be kind of interesting. I don't know what it is about her. It's just, there's always this face. It's like, you never see really that much of a different expression, very rarely. Although, once in a while, she'll try to do a little bit of Alyssa's kind of glare, but it doesn't really work for her. It's more like, it just kind of makes you laugh, more or less, rather than just kind of like, okay, you're really not scary at all, you know? I don't know. It's like my future is the priority issue for all the local residents. I mean, it's really wouldn't be that hard to really tell them what's going on. Okay, not really a big deal or the end of the world kind of thing. I don't know. Hey, what really is the matter? Just curious. Curious about what? I don't ask you what you are gonna do tomorrow, the day after tomorrow, or in a month. Why do you have to get into someone else's life? Why, oh my, oh my. Wonder what went on in your life previously before you came to this camp, Semyon. I don't know. I'm not getting into anything. Ilyana said offended. I'm not really good at all that stuff. True enough, you're still a kid. So you've got to explain since you're the adult here. And he's not really that much older than you since he apparently went from his 20s back to, I don't know, back to his teenage years. I don't know. So he can't be that much older than you. What should I explain? So you're gonna stay in touch through letters, right? And then you're gonna go to this camp next summer together. Oh wow. Talking through letters? Sounds so wild to me. I mean, yeah, obviously if you're talking about a long distance relationship, but in this case, it's not really that big a deal though. It depends. Some people have managed to do that, but it doesn't always. It's 90% of times, yeah, they don't really work a lot of times, online relationships anyway. But a lot of people try it though. But there are chances that it can work for some people. And I don't mean the idea of paper sheets and envelopes. I mean the possibility of losing Slavia for a year, probably even longer. If you went that long, you might as well just pack up and look for somebody else at that point, because the likelihood of that person really having anything for you within a year from now, I don't know. It's hard to say on that one. Or forever. So what? May I join you? I raised my eyes and saw Slavia standing near me with a food tray. Okay, it's time to go. Jumped and dashed off to a far corner of the canteen. What were you talking about? You know her. What could we possibly be talking about? Slavia smiled. Took care of your business. Yeah, now I'm completely free. I can help you pack your stuff. It's not like I've got much to pack. Well, then can you help me with my stuff? Sure. Now was the perfect opportunity for a quiet talk with her. Although I had not the slightest idea what I should talk about. Soon enough, we finished our meal and headed to Slavya's cabin. Everything in it was clean and neat, unlike in Olga Dmitrievna's cabin. Oh, I'm not sure what I should start with. She took out her travel bag and started to rummage through her cabin. Meanwhile, I sat on the bed and started to gather my thoughts. Do you have any plans for after the camp? What are you going to do? Well, you know. She raised her eyes to mine and gave me a smile. I'll go back to school. Ah, yeah. And you? What about me? It's not like I'm really considering going to high school for a second time. Me? Well, me too, I guess. Although I don't really feel like going back to my city. Seriously speaking, even I felt like going back, I had nowhere to go anyway. Why? Just because there was nothing to do there, nothing at all, and there's no one waiting for me there. But your parents? My parents? Well, you know, they're not there now. But where are they then? They're sort of working abroad. Ah, so you're one lucky guy. What is he like? Half Japanese, half Russian? Is that what it is? Is that the case? Like one of his parents is like Japanese, the other's Russian. She smiled merrily. Why? They send you foreign stuff and all. I would call my situation lucky as much. Well, anyway, don't be upset. She really looks like she doesn't understand what I'm saying. I'm not upset about it. And it was true. And what's up? Many things. For example. Well, for example. I was about to begin a vast outburst about my situation and my wish not to have to part with Slavia when the door was flung open with a bang and Xenia in it. Oh boy. Ah, there you are. Yes, the packing. I see. It's a good thing I didn't come 10 minutes later. I would have disturbed your packing. Slavia blushed and kept on stuffing her things inside the bag anxiously. What's up, heroic lover boy? What kind of face are you making? And I did not expect that expression, lover boy. Somehow I thought maybe you would have a different face. I don't know. That form of address gave me the creeps. It's kind of refreshing. I don't know. I'm kind of used to a different look she has. It's more like grumpy kind of face, like she puts it to the sides. Like, what is that? What? Nothing. She stared at me intently for some time. Watch it. Now more than just yourself depends on your choices. I did reply, and with those words, then you left the cabin. What did she mean? I think you can never know for sure. And yeah? Well, I wanted to talk to you about it myself. I was able to start, but then... About what? Slavia looked at me carefully. It's just, today we're leaving, right? Right. And we will move back to our cities. Well, yeah. And when will I see you again? Slavia grew thoughtful. I don't know. Not really sure with that response there, Slavia. I hope I pick all the right choices. I don't know. I'm not really sure where this is going, but I came this far and I'm really going to stop now. So let's see where it goes, guys. And I don't know either. Come on, man. You guys bang back there in the forest. One thing led to another. Or is it just kind of a one-night stand type of thing? Is that what that was? You just kind of happened to be in the heat of the moment? Is that what that was all about? Sure, there was more to it than that. All the days that leading up to this point. Come on now. Even though what I mentioned before, it's kind of impossible that somebody could get together in a matter of 6 days. But still, I don't know. Since it's a game, obviously they're kind of playing it out like they've been around each other for a while. But you could write me letters. She smiled, but her smile didn't bring me peace of mind. Yes, of course, but that's not the same. What is it then? Can I go with you? I decided to take a chance and speak plainly. And what will you do then? Slavya seemed to not be surprised, but a bit vexed. Studying the past, and what will people say? I wasn't thinking about the opinions of other people, and to be honest, they didn't worry me much. Well, we can always find a way. What way? We'll think of something. Samuel, you're too young for this. Too young for what? Heck, I'm not. I mean, what are you, about 17, 18 years old? You're at the age, I don't know. Depends on how you look at it, I don't know. So what? Maybe after some time. How much time do you need? A year, 2 years, 5? Oh, come on, Sammy. You say it as if... I don't know. She seemed confused. So everything that happened here was just a holiday romance. I started getting angry. No, of course not. Just... what? I'm not ready to discuss it right now. Let's talk about it later. What later? Come on, phone. You're interrupting this little serious conversation here. We only have a couple hours left till departure. Slavya said nothing and continued to pack her things. I'd expect almost any kind of reaction from her, but not this. I have to admit, this is kind of new to me as well. In fact, she just pushed me away. Turns out she doesn't need to continue our relationship. So I'm not that important to her. You think it's all that complicated for you? It seems to me that it's harder for you too, but for some reason you don't think so. And what if I told you that I don't have a place to go back to? That since last Monday, there is no more life for me and I have to start from scratch. It's kind of interesting how he's thinking this way only the last 2 days of being around her compared to the other 4 days he spent in the camp. It's like leading up to this point. Even with the dance back there, he still kind of was more like, I don't know, it's like he was going through the motions kind of thing. Now it's almost like the game just kind of automatically fast forwarded his feelings. It's like, how does that happen? It's like, I don't know, it's just something I kind of just noticing here. It's like, leading up to this, like, every day, it's like he wanted nothing to do with being in this camp or anybody in it, right? Like, and this was going on even while he was still kind of getting to know all the people in this camp. And only up until, like, I don't know, the last 2 days, I would say, that's when everything kind of changed. It's almost like you got the day 5, towards the end of day 5, and then on to 6. That's when he really started thinking of her. It's like the game just it's almost like they just abruptly just fast forwarded something here. It's like, not really sure what to think of that though, but it's interesting. I don't know. That doesn't sound very reasonable. And it shouldn't, but it's true. And then what? Please explain. I came to this camp by accident. Actually, I'm from another time, perhaps from another world. From the beginning of the 21st century. And I'm older than I seem. I don't really know how I got here. Slavya stayed on me, but said nothing. I mean, now, him talking this, if this was said in real life, I could kind of understand why this look would be, I would probably think the person's a little bit crazy in their mind. But in a case of him, though, he didn't come there by some way, right? He just doesn't know how he got there. That's the funny thing about it. The moments dragged on endlessly. I waited for her to laugh at me, to call me sick, or something else. And why are you telling me all this? She finally asked quietly. I wanted you to understand my situation. But it just sounds stupid. Of course, if I were you, I would react the same way. And what do you expect from me? I don't know. I just felt that I needed to confess. I'm not saying that you're lying, and I don't think you're crazy, but you have to understand, I can't just accept it. Yes, I understand. I just thought that it would help you to understand my situation and my motivation for my actions. It didn't, to be honest. I sighed in frustration. And my opinion hasn't changed. But you better be up. You need to pack your stuff and you'll be late. There's. Let's talk later. I wasn't gonna argue. If Slavya hasn't changed her mind after my confession, then it's pointless to press on right now. Wow, that was a deep and interesting conversation. Distressed, I shuffled off to Olga Dmitrievna's cabin. The camp leader stood at the doorstep and looked like she was waiting for me. Why are you so gloomy? Did something happen? No, nothing. Just came to pack my things. Oh, now he doesn't really want to talk about anything back there. It's like, oh, come on, let it out. You might feel better. Well, how do you think I can prove that I'm telling the truth to somebody who doesn't believe me? Are you absolutely sure that you're telling the truth? Absolutely. Then perhaps they might just need time to consider. Except there's no time left. Then I don't know. She shrugged her shoulders in dismay. Well, it's something at least. I tossed my winter clothing into a bag and headed to the bus stop. And if a couple of days ago I'd seen the Icarus standing at the gate of the camp and waiting for pioneers, I would have been the happiest person in this reality. But right now, I wasn't in the mood to rejoice. There was still plenty of time left until the bus departure time. I sat down on the curb and buried my head in hands. Why so sad? A familiar voice pulled me out of my thoughts. Just had a fight with Slavya. You could say that. And what's the reason? She doesn't believe that I'm an alien from the future. How's this gonna go with her? I smiled ironically. I wouldn't believe it either. Yeah, go figure, said Lena mysteriously. If I were in your shoes, neither would I. It's not a big deal. You'll wake up from a quarrel. Yeah, but there's not much time left to. Left to what? To make the right choice. Oh boy. After a while, the whole camp assembled together at the bus stop. Oh boy. Everyone's here. Huh, they really are, aren't they? Began Olga Dmitrievna. You're leaving our camp today, and I'd like to tell you something in parting. She was visibly nervous and desperately lost for words. I hope that you'll remember the time you spent here for a lifetime, and that you retain only pleasant memories about Slavia. I also hope that you became a little bit better, managed to learn something, and found new friends. Just come back next year. The camp leader turned away. It seemed that she was trying to hold back her tears. I didn't expect her to get so emotional. Although her speech sounded like a complete nonsense to me, as usual. Of course, this is where I met Slavia, but now we were going through a tough time, and what will happen next is absolutely unclear. So I didn't care about whether I'll miss this place and Olga Dmitrievna or not. I have a feeling you will, because even though you're saying what you're saying right now, you ain't gonna be able to move on without this girl. That's gonna be my guessing on this. See where it's gonna go though. Unlikely. When the pioneers started to get on the bus, I pushed through the crowd to Slavia. Oh boy. Let's sit together. Okay, she said quietly. I even thought that I saw the shadow of a smile on her face. Huh. Boy, your face looks kind of scary. Look at that. This girl right here has got a drawing. And not really sure who you are. Some of these people definitely look like they come from different places. And not really sure what to make of you up front. This one right here, it's like right by the mirror. It's kind of interesting. The bus flew across the expanses of my new world. Outside fields, followed forests, and then calm rivers and highlands. I felt as familiar with all this as if it's my own homeland. Anyway, the surroundings were the least of my concerns now. I was trying hard to find the right words to start a conversation. We'd just been sitting there probably for a couple of hours, but all attempts to strike up a conversation had ended with one-word answers. Forget about what I said before. I don't want to make excuses or say that it's not true. It's just now, the most important thing to me is you. I understand. She looked at me carefully. even if I sometimes act the wrong way and talk nonsense. Regardless, the main thing for me now is to be with you, and it always will be. Aw. I understand that I acted too recklessly and planned stupid ventures, but we can try to make everything right together, you and me. Slavia was still gazing at me. Do you realize that it will be difficult? That you can't just run blindly into the dark, because then there will be so many problems that we won't be able to solve. Yes, I understand that now. But for you, I am prepared for anything. She didn't say a word, but just kissed me gently and put her head on my shoulder. Aw, it definitely meant yes. I didn't want to bother her anymore. Let her sleep. The point is that Slavia finally understood what she means to me. She realized that I'll do anything for her sake. And even if I'm overreacting or deciding too early, she's ready to put me on the right path. The path that we'll walk together. Night started to calm its rights and the bus settled down to sleep. As first, I tried to fight it, but there is any use in enduring and wasting my efforts when the future had finally become crystal clear for me. My eyes shut just for a moment. Hmm. No more days, so how's this gonna go? That's kind of interesting. There are dreams that you don't want to wake up from. It's like floating down a warm river towards a place far beyond the horizon, blissfully watching the wane world hidden behind clouds. The past is left behind, its echoes do not tear your soul. And the future is right here. You just have to reach out. It doesn't matter what is awaiting you there, the very process of immersing yourself in this very world of serenity and happiness is itself much more important. I've always believed that the universe was once in this state and one day it will return to it again. Our life is just a blink of an eye, just a second in comparison to the universe. The death of stars is a minute. Those of galaxies are hours. But even all of that, all put together, will not even be a day. Nobody thinks how to live each specific second, so it doesn't really matter what each drop in a stormy river running beyond the horizon of existence does. You really are back in your own place, aren't you? Interesting place you have back there. That's interesting. But my guess is he's still not back in his world. He's in there. He's still in the world that he's in. That's the funny thing is, unless if he has his beard back, that'd be kind of funny. I opened my eyes and stretched blissfully. I had no desire to stand up as I felt like I was in perfect bliss, muffed in a blanket. After all, I don't have to go anywhere. As usual, actually. And I don't have any plans. So why should I just sleep? I rolled over and stared at my old worn wallpaper covering the curved wall. I wonder how long ago the last time they renovated this room was. And why does here have wallpaper instead of bare wood anyway? Vague warning bells began ringing somewhere deep in my mind. Hmm. I threw the blanket away, jumped up, and furiously began to look around. Yes, I was in my flat again. At first, I was paralyzed. The shock was so strong that my brain was unable to process what was going on. I just stood and gazed on the screen of the monitor on the table opposite me. I couldn't think. I even forgot to breathe. Finally, my mind began to clear. What happened anyway? I fell asleep on the bus going to the district center. Yeah, something like that. And Slavy was sitting by my side. And now I'm back here. Seems like during the week I spent there in the camp, I had gotten so used to the fact that I had never returned to my previous life that now I just have no idea how to react to all this. After all, at first my main wish was to get home. But in the end, everything was like in a bad movie. At last, I had come back, but I am still shocked. No, I felt no fear. I was rather interested and upset. After all, I had already made up my mind to start a new life in Slavia, leaving all my problems behind. Insult, suffering, self-examination, unfinished affairs, and plans for the future. Obviously, that life could not be worse than this one at least. But there's no returning to it now. On the other hand, if someone had told me a week ago that I would be sent into a different world just like that, in the blink of an eye, I would not have believed them. So what makes such a fantastic evening happening again so impossible? Moving my legs with difficulty, I went to the kitchen, got a glass of water, returned to the room. The ice cold liquid with a disgusting aftertaste of bleaching powder revived me to some degree. Now I have to decide what to do next. Suddenly I realized that I could not bear the silence. After turning the computer on, I launched a random song in the player and managed to calm down somewhat. And seriously speaking, what can I do? Recently, I realized that absolutely nothing is up to me. By someone's will, I was pulled out of my casual world and then sent back. No answers were found during the week of the camp. What's the point in speculating now? I must forget everything that happened like a bad dream. Maybe those were just hallucinations. I don't really care now. The only thing that prevented me from forgetting this short period of my life was Slavya. I recalled her smile and all the time we spent together. From the meeting on the very first day to the night in the forest and our departure from the camp. My heart furiously jumped inside my chest, spreading oppressive pain all through my body. I liked her at first sight. Did you? So gentle, caring, understanding. Just like that anime heroine, what was her name? The one who helped an antisocial fellow like me with depression. And if you think about it, there are no such people in real life. Slavia asked nothing in return, needed no encouragement, never expected to be understood or praised for her work. She just was being herself, a girl that cannot exist in real life. If you think clearly, that's really exactly what she was. It seems like I've seen only one single week-long dream about the pioneer camp, Soviet teenagers, and their camp leader. About warm summer nights, gatherings around a fire, about light-hearted children's games and simple human joys, about one moment that lasted a week and the everlasting summer. But not just seen. I've been there or was a part of everything. My eyes unwillingly filled with tears. Not tears of pain and sorrow, tears of sorrow and bright melancholy. Even if everything is over, I experienced something that most people could never even dream about. Slavia's image flashed in my mind, brighter and brighter. I would love so much for her to return from that camp with me. Maybe I have nothing to offer her now, but my entire life was still ahead of me. I guess I learned a lot of useful lessons from these events. I couldn't help thinking that it all seems too perfect, like it was written according to some simple plan. Lose your hero, a fantastic incident, and a wonderful transformation. I guess it's not possible. Not in this life. Will I become the person that I was before only a day or a week later? Well, it's the most realistic course of events. One thing's for sure, I'll never be able to go back. Hmm. To be con- to be continued.